John. You're doing skate videos. You're not a good skater, but you got the camera. So the cool
Yeah.
guys let you hang out. They're telling you, hey, kid, get a fisheye when I do McFlurry flop side tail slide.
Yes,
And
that's
you're like, yeah.
exactly
And you're
that's
doing the
exactly what it
long
was.
lens. Who says, hey, do a commercial? Is it like some
Um,
fruit punch hanging out at the skate park? A marketer goes, hey, kid, I like the way you do the kick flip to front side fakie.
exactly. No, no one ever told me about commercials. I started doing music videos after the skate world. So I was doing those for a little bit, and it was very classic, like white kid in, the suburbs of Connecticut trying to rap. That's the
Sure.
music videos I was doing. I had no, again, I was kind of like a slow burn, slow learner. I didn't think about the fact that there was a director making commercials. So I thought like, okay, music videos are going to be the thing that I'm doing. So I was
Yeah.
doing a fair amount of those, but I'm from like Newtown, Connecticut. There's no music scene. There's no one there who's kind of guiding my film experience, It was very, very like
How
white
did
suburbia.
how did that first one? A friend of a friend, and you had that camera? Was it a
Yeah,
skateboarder that introduced you to the rapper?
okay. See, this is the connection. So it's my friend Chris Daly, who I'll shout out. He's a great musician. He was a skateboarder, and I found out that he was making music, and so we were like, okay, well, we gotta come together and shoot some music videos. And so we sort of did the classic like rap music video with a dude walking along train tracks, and there's like the one piece of graffiti that exists in the suburbs of Connecticut where like, oh, we have to shoot there, that's so cool. So we
Yeah.
did like a very the most like cliche music video possible. So yeah, still in like the skate world very much.
You have a boombox that he's singing to, or he's wearing headphones, or how does
How
that
did
work?
I think we
And there's
did I think we did a combination. I think he was wearing headphones for certain shots when it was like very we were in like a loud environment, and we had some sort of shitty, I don't know, some sort of boombox thing. But yeah, I had one of those do you remember the glide cam? It was like the like cheap steady cam that you could
oh yeah,
get.
yeah,
We were shooting on those
camera
and
on a
just
stick, basically.
pretty much with like it was like super janky, like weights on both ends, and I'm like trying to operate it, not doing a good job at all, and trying to do these cool like flying sort of shots. It was a mess, but it was fun.
That's how you learned VFX, fixing some
Exactly.
of those janky shots.
Yeah, yeah. And what was I think I was editing in Sony Vegas too. And I'm sure if I looked now, like at the time I was like, "Oh, the color is great." I'm sure it was the crunchiest, oversaturated color grade, but like 14, 15-year-old me, I'm like, "This is so cool." And we're making like legit hip hop music videos.
Well, editing styles and coloring, more coloring, are kind of like fashion and haircuts. You look back at that, that one night when you had the hair and you go, what was I thinking? But at the
They're
time, it was super cool. You left the house going, perfect, like the
yeah, well,
Fonz.
I remember Chris had these like Sony Vegas plugins that made everything look super like goldeny. I'm sure they just
Yeah.
bumped the white balance up. And he posted a video using that. I don't even want to call it a LUT. I don't know what it was at the time. And I was like, Chris, we gotta use this on the next video. And yeah, you're right. They're very in and out of style. It's a very like cyclical thing. But
I did
um,
a I did a somewhat like a music video with comedians in the I want to say the late 90s, mid to late 90s. I had a deal with Comedy Central to film comedians and do like a 2-minute profile film that they would air as they called them interstitials.
right.
So we would shoot on 16 millimeter film, and instead of coloring the final edit, I would just go late night to a post house and they would transfer the film to tape, and I would do a color pass. And then some scenes I would say, take everything out but blue. And there was an
Oh yeah,
aspirin commercial called Nuprin in the mid 90s that did that. Like, it was a yellow pills in a black and white world. Uh, and when I talked to Steven Spielberg, I said,
of
why don't you
course.
do it with the girl in the red dress? Just have her dress be red and the rest is black and white.
The
But
selective color is funny, and there's still like I just saw a pharma commercial the other day where yeah, they did that exact thing. Everything's black and white except this woman's yoga mat is blue. It's a choice, you
and
know?
it's a brand color.
That's very true. It has to be.
So you doing these you go from skate to hip hop. From hip hop, how do you get into commercials? I want to know your first commercial.
Yeah, I was like I didn't want to do commercials. I was in Chicago at the
None of us
time.
did, John. None of us
Yeah.
did, and here we are.
I right. I was in Chicago for film school, but I had dropped out thinking like, "Oh, I'm going to be a huge music video director." But I sort of got like just burnt out doing the music videos, and I was finding, which is seems very obvious that I should have been doing commercials. I was finding that I could like make a good 30 to 45 seconds of a music video, and then I would kind of like burn out a little bit. And so I was looking at all the music video directors I loved, and I was like, these guys are only making music videos once every 3 months. There's no way they're making their living. Again, I'm not a quick learner, obviously. And I was like, oh, they're doing commercials in between. I don't want to do that, but if I want to work with these cool guys, I got to do a commercial. So one weekend, I wrote 4 specs and I shot them over a weekend. Didn't want to do it, but the second I started, I was like, oh, this is really fun, and I think I'm better at these than I am the commercials or
And
than
it
the music
scratched the
videos.
itch. It scratched
What
the creative itch for
a
directing.
million percent. Yeah, I just like got hooked. I dropped the music videos completely and just full force went into the commercial side. So that was my first like experience getting into that world.
What year are we talking? You're a young man.
I was young. I think I was like 19. I don't I want to say this is like 2019, 2018,
So
maybe even a little earlier.
who's the music video director or two that are influencing you in film school? You're in film school in like 2017 to 18, 19.
Yeah.
There's no budgets for music video. Either like in my day, you got a Dave Myers or
Yeah.
Michael Bay. You're talking $1 million music video budgets.
Yeah, I so the guy I was watching, I found him in high school through a friend. His name is Hiro Murai. He was sort of
Hero
like, do you know who
Murai,
that
of
is?
course. Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
He was not super well known, but I felt like he was the guy who was like doing stuff in his music videos that nobody else was doing. And I was super, super into his work, still am. And obviously now he's gone on to do Atlanta and he's like an EP on The Bear. But I was watching his videos in like
He came up with it
2015.
with
Yeah.
the. You know what I'm talking about? The for the listener, I'm leaning to one side, I'm popping up on the other, which became one of the more overused or stolen bits in cinematography for
Yeah.
commercials.
And I didn't know what he was doing at the time, but even in high school when I was watching his stuff, I had the sense that he was like working his lighting and cinematography all to work together, and I had never really seen anyone do that, and I was just obsessed. So that's who I was really watching a lot of in film school. I would just watch his music videos on repeat and just try to figure out what he was doing right and what was working so well.
That's cool. What about Cole Bennett? Is he a contemporary? Like
Cole
he came
Bennett.
later.
No, well, when I was in Chicago, that's when he was coming up at the same time doing music videos.
He's
Um,
badass.
well, now he's crushing, yeah, and it was
No, he has
insane
he
to
has his own
see.
music festival.
Yeah, huge. Well, Lyrical Lemonade, yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
When I was first in Chicago, Lyrical Lemonade was like him in his dorm, like in his little laptop, which is nuts. So it's I mean, kudos to him for coming so far and making that such a brand, you know?
I bring him up because I think he started by doing his own effects, and he kind of had a signature style that was a riff off of Sony Vega plugins
Yeah.
that go back to the video toaster of the 90s, but he made them all his own. He seemed like the After Effects the Zach King of rap music.
A zillion percent. Yeah, he was doing all of his own
Wait,
stuff,
did I
and
just go from 1 billion% to 1 zillion% interview,
we
or I
went
got
to a
two zillions? I got 2 zillions?
we went to a zillion, which is high. That's a bar. That's a huge threshold, that we've crossed. So now you're in the big leagues when that happens.
Cool. Give me one of those four specs, and how did that catch the attention of someone?
Well, I don't know that they caught anyone's attention as much as I was just like beating down the door of anyone who would watch them. So
What are
one
you
of
doing?
them,
How are you finding people to send them to?
I had like just learned what like an EP at a production company was. So
Uh huh.
I was in Chicago. I would just type in like Chicago commercial video production, whatever. I was doing anything. And I think one of them was like a Kit Kat spec, and I did a Crunch Bar spec where this guy like eats a Crunch Bar and then he grabs onto this big balloon and kind of floats away. They made no sense. But I sent them to, I'll give him a shout out, this guy Zach Moore, who had a production company in Chicago called Naked Gallery.
Uh huh.
And he was like, oh, these are funny. I have a roster of directors and none of them want to do commercials, but I have this lead on these like Mike's Harder, Lemonade, sort of
Yes.
social commercials. Do you want to do them? And I was like, yeah, fucking absolutely I do. And so he
A
just sort of
trillion
gave
percent.
them to me. Yeah, and Zach now he's a producer at High Dive, but he was the one who kind of gave me my first real commercials. They were social and they were very small, but he saw something. Maybe it was just me being a pest and like bugging the shit out of people to watch my work. But yeah, he was like, let's do these. So I think we did two kind of like square one-to-one, social spots for Mike's Hard that were like
Oh,
kind
that's
of
awesome.
comedy and yeah.
Yep. Mike's Hard Lemonade and then this Mike's Harder Lemonade
Yeah.
fall into the kind of Old Spice, Skittlesy tone of humor, if
Yes.
I'm remembering correctly. And
Yeah.
then High Dive, now that he's at High Dive, wow, they're one of the top shops in the country. They're out of Chicago. They do great Super Bowl work. They do your Jake from State Farm, and they also had some funny. Aaron Cathy is a creative director there, and he did some fun Airhead stuff that you'd be right for. Have you done
100%.
the
Yeah.
Airhead? I'm going to make a call after this podcast and get
Make
you
a
on the
call.
Airheads campaign.
This is the thing. I sort of shifted away from comedy because I don't know, it's very hard to get comedy dialogue on my reel, especially as like a new director. It felt like an impossible bridge to cross. And
A
the
lot of
like
competition.
very competitive, and I think you have to be a great copywriter too to be able to like punch up jokes on the fly, and I just didn't have that skill. And so I kind of leaned back into my skate background, into the like lifestyle-y camera movement side of things, which I think is a better fit, but that's what I was doing, yeah.
I don't know if I'd call it lifestyle, but I guess it's like a post lifestyle, nouveau lifestyle.
Yeah.
So this Joybird spot, and
Yes.
I love it.
Thank you.
You've got the cameras running up on you, which I want to do, but I never get the chance, right? I'm stuck with punching up the jokes. So
Yeah.
you got the camera, it's moving up on someone, and then it pulls back and it tilts down to the rug to see a product or something or a phone in someone's hand, if I'm remembering. And when it tilts up, it's a new living room.
That's right. Yeah, we shot on the Milo to give us those repeat passes and those kind of quick dynamic camera moves. So
What's the Milo? I don't even know the
the
Milo.
Milo is kind of one of the OG motion control robots. It's like the
So it's a
big,
Milo Moco robot.
it's exactly what it is. It's like the big clunky one that I feel like nobody wants to use, but for our job, because it's not like sleek, it looks like a big ton of metal.
Sad robot.
Yeah, very sad. And it got really hot on our set and it like shut down a few times because we didn't really have great AC on the set.
Milo
Um,
sad. Mm.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was like watching the robot deflate was funny. but it was the right thing for the job, so
Yeah.
we went for it.
I wonder if you can buy like old robotic Moco equipment cheap. Like
I
you know how
feel like
cameras evolve and then now your $40,000 camera body is a doorstop. I wonder if robots are like that.
I feel like eventually it'll come to that where you could just jump on Craigslist, eBay, and get some like off-brand. It's probably come right from Ford, and maybe it'll like, you'll impale yourself accidentally, but you might be able to get a good deal on one.
I think I saw one on Facebook Marketplace. Moco.
Secondhand. It's like those people who steal the TVs from the fast food places, and they still have the menus, the fast food menus, and it's
That's
still got all
funny.
the Ford plugins, but you figure it out. That's the whole thing.
So when you do the Moco move and you go down and you come back up, you're simply doing, this is a guess, a two frame dissolve, or it could be a match cut back
Yeah, there's
during the move because it's so precise.
Yeah, you don't have to dissolve or anything. You just have to make sure the shots are like synced. And then there's a lot of what is it called? There's a lot of masking and like layers involved in comps and stuff.
Hmm.
But otherwise, yeah, you're just doing the move over and over several times. And because it's exactly the same every time, you can cut kind of whenever. So I think those cuts are hidden either as the camera's tilting down or as it's coming back up. There's enough space to, kind of slip the new shot in there.
That technique I have done I did a phase of mockumentary style commercials coming off of a mockumentary feature. That's how I launched myself into commercials. I'd
Hmm.
done an indie feature that was a mock documentary. And in that movie and then in other things, I would come to rely on the two frame dissolve. It's really a three frame dissolve
Two
because
sounds better.
you can hide it in the whip pan. Like we would purposely whip pan so that you could hide the cut and then you wouldn't, if you do that, you know you're always sharp when you start on A
Yeah.
and you always are sharp when you land on B. And
Yeah.
sometimes we reverse B. Like if it's whip panning to a product shot that has to be tight and sharp,
Yeah.
you can hide the stitch in the whip,
Yep.
and that way you can actually mix lenses
Yeah.
from like a 40 millimeter on a person saying something funny, whip over, hide the little cut, and then when you land, you're actually going backwards from the soda can that's on a 75.
I love technical filmmaking, but I'm also super into the solves being very, very simple. Like there's just a cut hidden between these two shots. Like that stuff is super fun to me. As technical and as complicated as things get, I do love relying on like the simple cuts and transitions that are just like, easy to do, but they look nice.
I gotta think that that's as far back as Hitchcock must have done it a million times
I'm
with
sure.
like whip pans on a tripod, or even Chaplin. Like one of the things I love, and I'm not a master of it, but I've done a handful of. I did a couple years of forced perspective gags,
Oh, love it. Yeah.
and everything digitally, whether it was practical or digital with a plate shot, goes back to like Chaplin,
Yeah.
and even I want to say a name that I'm not knowing in my film history where they did matte paintings on glass. It's the same exact concept. So now, I mean, you can do it in CapCut on your phone,
It's insane. Yeah.
but
You
it's the
can
same bit.
Yeah, I think those sort of like OG effects are really cool. I love the matte paintings. Forced perspective is
Yeah.
I want to do more of that forced perspective stuff like I don't know, there's something so tactile about that stuff. Of course I love a good like VFX CGI solve, but I think when those are working together, that's when you've got a little bit of magic.
How did you learn the CGI and the VFX?
Yeah, well, I don't do it myself, but I think because I'm a
But
very anxious. Oh,
you're
sorry,
fluent
yes.
in you're fluent in
Yeah.
them.
I mean, to an extent, I feel like I know enough. Again, because I'm such an anxious person, when I'm prepping a job, I'm like the kind of person who will wake up at 3 a.m. and like go to my computer and take a note about, oh, this like table, the corner of it's gonna, and I have to know the answers to as much as possible. So I over prep. I just start to go insane in a good way, and I just like learn everything that could possibly go wrong or right in the spot. And so I feel like that process has just lent itself to like me bugging VFX artists all the time while we're prepping a job, and just like I want to know how stuff works. Just like I think that's just how my brain is. So it's been helpful to just kind of get into the weeds and really dig in, you know.
What a healthy obsession.
It's
There
not,
is
but maybe it's helpful.
there's a Ross dress for less spot
Yeah,
that I'd really love. I mean, I feel like we talked about Joybird and I should post that, but and Google is great, but the Ross dress for less, you think like Ross, is that going to be what? It's a great spot, and
thanks.
you go from one floor to the next,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah,
And it's not like turned down for what, where they're falling through. You're
yeah.
moving the camera up and down through. And how does that work? How do you are they sets built off the floor? Is it all digital? What is its secret? And listeners, I am going to post this at jordanbrady.com with the blog, and you'll see John's spot that I'm talking about. But you can imagine it looks like you had an apartment building and you cut one wall off so you could crane up and down from apartment to apartment. How do you do that?
Okay, so those were all practical set builds. They were just slightly elevated off the ground, and it was still the same thing. It was motion control. I can't remember what we shot it on, but we just basically did the same kind of vertical boom for each shot. And there's a little bit of VFX in there to kind of stitch those rooms together as you quote unquote move up the building and you're seeing into these apartments. Yeah, really fun job. That was at with GSD&M, who just had some like amazing creative, and I was super lucky to get awarded that one.
Well, how did that come to be? What did they see on your reel that they go, you know what, he'd be perfect for this? It wasn't a skate video or Mike's
No,
Harder Lemonade. Was it
we
indeed the Joybird?
well, no. So I had actually done my first sort of real-ish spot was a raw spot. I had done one previously with the GSD&M team that was like it was LED wall, and I
Uh
feel
huh.
like I don't know, they must have known that I was a little bit technical, or at least was going to drive myself insane until I figured out how to make stuff work. So then they came back to us and were like, "Hey, we have this other one. If you guys can figure it out, do you want to bid on it?" And I was super green at the time, and I was just like, yes, 100%, let's do it.
So
And
wait,
we,
it
yeah,
was
we got
sort
it.
of the afterthought spot or the tagged on spot?
No, we had done a full on, it was like Ross Halls. That was like a full, it was not broadcast, but it was like streaming digital, whatever spot. And then I think it was 3 or 4 months later,
Oh, gotcha,
um,
gotcha. It's different
they,
package.
yeah, different package, different package. So it
Does
was the second one with them.
does John Schwartz care if it's are you screen agnostic? Are you prejudiced towards one or do you care about what screen it's on?
No, I just like making stuff. I don't care. I honestly don't care about like what the thing is that we're actually making. The part I like is just the putting the puzzle together of solving the, like the creative problem solving and just making stuff. I don't have a no real preferences, you know?
It also sounds to me like you are collaborative,
Yeah,
yet a leader, but collaborative that people like working with you because you've talked about a couple of relationships here
sure.
that you've kept and that people that have given you a shot they go, you know what, kid, why don't you try this?
Yeah, I think the first couple jobs I did, I realized how important it is to just be a nice person and be easy to work with. Like I was an office PA before I was directing, and I was not good at all, but I got hired a lot because I was easy to be around to some degree. And I think that translated into directing, and I just knew how important client services was and how important it was to be open to ideas. And also like the whole thing is that the agencies have probably been working with their client for months or years. As much as you may not want to believe it, they know more about the thing than you do. And so
Yeah.
they are there to like really steer the ship and make sure you're not going to do some shit that the client's going to hate. So yeah, the relationships and the collaboration has been super important because I want everyone to walk away feeling good about what we. I don't want to be the aloof director who just like made it good for them but nobody else. Like that sucks. So yeah,
I heard a story one time from an agency person pretty high up the chain who was around when the aloof director was a thing.
sure,
And he said, you know, the results were good enough that I would work with them again, but there were less directors to choose from.
yeah.
So nowadays there's enough directors that we can have someone that's not only great, but they're pleasant to work with.
Yeah, I think I would have too much anxiety to try to be the cool, aloof director, and I just the whole time I'd be like, "Are they mad at me?" Like that would be me the entire time. So I can't play that card. It would never work. But I agree. It's so competitive now. You have to have sort of all the tricks.
But at the end of the day, I maintain that you have to have a point of view
Yeah,
to get considered in the first place. Because if any newer director is listening right now, take this to heart. Or if you're watching, I'll look in the camera. Um, you have to have a point of view and be able to lead the team. If you're a pushover,
yeah,
it's going to get the vision is going to get watered down. Even when, like, I did a call this morning with an agency, and I literally thought, why do they even need a director? It's so prescriptive what the storyboard is, and to me, it's very obvious the right way to do it. And then I
sure.
went, wait a minute, not everyone sees it like that. That's the gift that we as directors have is we read something and I don't have to think about it. Like, do you want a couple days before you pitch? Like, if I read it, I see it immediately. That's what I'm going to pitch.
Yeah,
If my take doesn't, mesh with what the agency wants, don't pick me, and that's okay. In fact, I would rather you not pick me if you don't like my take because I don't want to. Not that I can't bend my way to theirs, but I think you'll get a worse commercial than if someone who aligned with you was directing. Did that make any sense, Jon Schwartz?
no, that makes a lot of sense. And like having your style and your point of view, I agree, is super important because you can't, yeah, they don't want you to be a yes man for everything because then it's like, what are you getting paid for?
We
But I
could have
think in
done it
the,
ourselves.
exactly. And I think in the beginning of my career, I wanted to just win every single job regardless of if I was right for it. And now I'm getting to a place where I'm like, well, if they want something in my style with my perspective, then yes, I want it, but I don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to have to. I feel like if you get on a job where you've just sort of said yes to everything they want, you're going to end up in so many battles on set, and it's not going to be a good creative fit, and yeah, the job is not going to come out well. So, 100% makes sense, and I agree.
But how do you feel? How do you feel about treatments? And the reason I'm
I
asking you
Yeah.
is the part B of the question is how do you represent some of those camera moves and kinetic vibes that you bring in a treatment?
I think the GIF game or GIF, whatever you prefer,
I'm a gift
is
guy.
yeah, GIF. I think I feel like that is right. And I'm looking down on the GIF people, but
Why is that a mystery? I mean,
I
that's been
don't know.
it's been over 10 years. Okay, why can't we come? Is that what started the division in our nation?
Probably that's probably the political divisiveness is all about GIF versus GIF, and if that was solved, there would be no more left wing, right wing. We would all be one, which
One people.
maybe someone does need to solve that. I think the GIFs are strong. I also think, I don't even know what I was gonna say. Yeah,
How do you communicate your
oh,
style
yes,
in a treatment? And you said GIF, and then
yes.
ultimately, don't they say, can you make a PDF for the client?
Yes, and you can, but you do the if you're on what is it, InDesign, you do the publish online. That's typically the goal. But yeah, then you
Oh,
get to the PDF and it sort of sucks some of the life out of the treatment. But I feel like the big thing too is like to not I try not to be too in the weeds on the technical, our camera's going to do exactly this thing. I'm
right.
always trying to be talking about, yeah, this is what our camera is doing, but here's how it's making your product better. Here's how it's making the spot. Here's how it's advertising better, as opposed to just like, hey, this looks really cool, so let's do it, which of course is part of it, but like there's a little bit of a game to selling that side of it as it's also going to make a better ad, you know? But I love making treatments. I feel like they're hard, they're really time consuming, but that kind of becomes the Bible at the start of the job, which is a great like resource. So I like making them.
That's a common answer, even those of us that
Yeah.
loathe doing the treatment. And for me, like writing a treatment over the weekend, I don't do as much. My wife will go, "Did you get a lot of writing done?" I'm like, "Well, I think I found a cover image." And now it's like, "Oh, I made an AI version of one of the main characters that I may include." Like it's just I will put off the actual writing until the final hour. I have done video treatments
Ooh,
successfully
that's a
where
move.
with this microphone and usually a better camera than my webcam, the built-in camera, I will just talk through the spot and then layer some images over the thing.
Does that work
And
for
it's
you?
well, it works with a client that I've worked with for coming up on 20 years because they love
Okay.
it. The whole treatment is like 20 minutes for
Yeah.
8 or 9 spots, and they can. I even put um, chapters because, like, this one writer, I knew she didn't care about the other person's spot, so I gave her a time mark. She could just jump to her spot,
Okay.
right? And it's worked a couple times with new clients I've never pitched before. And by clients, I mean agencies and clients.
Yeah.
But one time I did it, and they go, "Could you just make a PDF?" And I was like, "But I'm like, really, I'm telling you everything, and it's the same images."
Yeah, you're
So
like this is better, but they want the original thing. Yeah, that's funny.
the directing duo of Morgan and Nick,
Yeah. They're
husband and
great.
wife, oh, I love them. They they will do a video like kind of a howdy together
Sure.
and talk about why they sent the spots they sent. Like
Yeah.
this spot we put speaks to the camera move. This speaks to the casting. See the funny hat in this spot? We thought that might be relevant. Like it's so smart, and they're so into the prep. And you had
Yeah.
mentioned you'll wake up in the middle of the night and go look on the computer or scribble something down. Do you previs?
I previs almost everything, even if it's just, well, some people call it like crap-o-matic. Just shooting, I just shoot it on my phone with my
Yeah.
DP and we just cut it together just to see how the timing is going to work. And because you can, a lot of times I feel like I catch stuff that I think is going to work and it doesn't quite come out well. And it's a great tool for the agency to see in advance and be like, oh, this is what you're doing. Now we get it. And you get onto set and it's just kind of about executing and less about having to freak out over every detail, you know?
And that's John Schwartz doing that before the job is awarded or after it's awarded, you're doing the crap-o-matic.
After it's awarded. But I've heard Oren Kaplan talk
Oh,
about doing a crapomatic in the pitch to show them how a technique is going to work and winning, which I thought was that's such a power move. That's really I want to do that, but I haven't gotten the job where that's like a feasible thing to do.
I've done that. Oren's amazing, by the way,
Incredible. Yeah.
and he's quite prolific. I really like watching his career take off. And if he's listening, I am a patron of Just Shoot It on their
As am
Patreon.
I. As am I.
Uh,
We all have to
it-
pay our duty to the Just Shoot It pod. Yes.
it's a great pod, and I've done it with tests where it was a technical gag. Like
Yeah.
I remember one time I wasn't even in the bidding pool,
Sure.
but I knew the team and I'd worked with them. and they're great, a great agency in Austin. And my rep goes, "Hey, there's this gig, and they're making their decision by noon tomorrow." So I called my sons. I go, "Hey, meet me at my house." They're grown-ups, right?
Sure.
Meet me at the house tomorrow at 9. And I got to do a test, and I need you. And they go, 9 a.m. Does it have to be 9 a.m.? I go, yes,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
has to be 9 a.m. And so we did it. I did some Premiere. It was like After Effects, but I just did it in Premiere, like a simple mat, and I put these shots together and
Yeah.
sent it to the guys, and did some. This is the Jedi move. Did Shot the bonus bits that I was going to pitch to be in the spot.
Ooh,
Do you
that's
understand?
clever. Yeah,
And
yeah.
go,
No,
here's
that,
here's a spin on your script. You could also have the cat, because the cat
yeah.
wasn't in the script, so we put the cat in there, and I got the gig.
See, that's a good move. I've done, I feel like as far as the furthest I've gone to getting close to that is I've done some like After Effects comps if
Mm-hmm.
they're, but it's usually in the treatment of like, hey, there's this shot you guys don't know how we're gonna do, and I'll comp it together in After Effects, which that's definitely helped me win certain jobs because it allows people to visualize what it is that you're talking about. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of that, and I want to do more. I want to,
Well, you
it's a
will.
great little in.
What is your dream commercial?
Okay. I didn't have an answer to this and now I do. You know what, like, do you know what fingerboarding is? Tech decking?
Of course, fingerboards are miniature skateboards the size of
Yes.
a pack of gum,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you ride them with your fingers. And it sounds simple, but there's some intricate, like people do kick flips and
Yes.
ramps and street skating on rails and things with fingerboards.
Yeah. It's the least cool thing about me, but I am very into it. It's so much fun. Like that's probably the first stuff I shot. So I want to do like an insane Tech Deck commercial that has motion control and do probe lenses and like clone the fingerboarder. I just want to go insane. That's my dream spot right now. So ideally, there's Tech Deck creatives listening who are can email me after this. That's my dream spot.
But between now and publishing this podcast, we're going to find out some of those tech deck people, and we're
Yeah,
going to tag them on the LinkedIn.
we should. We should.
I love
'Cause
that.
yeah, that's I was like, no, not 15. I was like 12 with my mom's camcorder doing tech deck tutorials. They're still on YouTube. You can see me with my squeaky voice in my bedroom like telling people how to fingerboard.
Oh, wow. Did you use the different lenses, or you had a camcorder or an
At the
iPhone, or
time, when I first started, no, but then eventually I upgraded and you could screw on the fisheye. But when I started, it was literally in my mom's, I don't know, like 14 megapixel camcorder on my dresser as my tripod. Um, which is, yeah, that's like that's the real inception of my filmmaking. It's way less cool than the skateboarding, but that's the
so
start.
pre skateboarding was tech deck.
Yeah, yeah. Because again, I wasn't good at skating, but I was very good at fingerboarding. So I was like, okay, I have this little niche over here, and I can make that work too.
What if I posted one of those videos at jordanbrady.com with the blog? I think
You
that
should. And
delight
I
people.
I made when I was living in Chicago, and I was super bored for like I don't remember what time this was, but I made like a good fingerboard video with like proper lighting and all that stuff. That would be one to post. It's incredibly embarrassing. You could post it alongside one of my videos from when I'm 12 from my old YouTube and really dig into that for
I
some
can't wait.
embarrassment.
Tell me about AI filmmaking and how that fits into your world.
Well, my honest answer is that I don't know that it does. Just because I
That's a great
can't
answer.
I can't get excited about it. I like going and solving shit and physically making something, and I don't get excited about the AI world, you know? I know it's coming, but I just can't muster the enthusiasm about it, you know?
It's pretty good. I have maintained throughout the advent of CGI, affordable CGI invading commercials like in
Yeah.
the early 2000s, that people can sniff it out.
Yeah.
And the AI is getting to the point where I almost can't say that anymore. And I've played around where people didn't know it was AI. Like even impossible camera moves. Somebody asked me if I had a 360 on a drone or something, and
Yeah.
it was AI. And I've talked about it. I did an episode actually a few weeks ago, just me rambling about what I call the AI sandwich. John,
Sure.
it's really a live action sandwich on an AI bun, but
Sure.
that doesn't sound as good. Um, I think the work you do with the energy in the camera, keeping the old robots happy, the Moco, and just there's just such a wonderful dynamic vibe of your spots
I
that's
appreciate it.
oh, you're welcome. It's always going to be in fashion, and it would take just as much prompting to do it in real by the time you finesse the prompts. And then if the prompts get to the point where it could replicate it, creative people like yourself would want to move on to something new anyway.
Yeah, I think I would get bored of it very quickly because the whole thing that's fun, like I feel like my style and my work is very precise. Like I want to get exactly what I want. And at least right now, I feel like with prompting, you get like 60 to 75% of it, and that's good enough. But I would just that would just bug the shit out of me. And then
Yeah,
yeah, if I didn't like physically have to go and prep that shot and figure it out and it could just kind of be prompted and spit out, I do think I would get bored and be like, yeah, I'm ready to move on. Let's do something else, you know?
that's a great answer. Final
Uh,
question, and thank you for being on the show. This has been a delightful conversation. I feel like we could
sure.
talk for hours here. Um,
Yeah.
we're going to get you that Tech Deck spot
And
because I think that would
what's,
be
it would be great. What's your commission as, you know, the agent for that? We could discuss off the podcast if you're not
nothing.
comfortable, but
Your
I don't
success
know.
is my reward.
Okay. Okay.
All I need. Your
Yeah.
happiness, your smile.
Great.
Um, we end the show with this question. Jon Schwartz, what does respect the process mean to you?
You know, I feel like it's just about taking the job seriously. That's such a bad answer, but the thing I've come to realize more and more is that when you're directing an ad, there's like a lot of people whose jobs depend on you during your doing your job, and like you realize really quickly that if you're not doing things on time and doing things well, that there's other departments that are going to suffer and are going to have to work late or whatever the case may be. And so like I'm always just like acutely aware when I'm drawing a set and doing the first build of it that like, okay, someone is going to need this really quickly and they need finite answers on it. And I can't like be wishy washy because if I fuck up, then it's put onto them and they have to, you know, then they have to stay late, whatever it is. And then they look like shit and everyone looks like shit. So that's my long winded answer. It's just like, do your job well and you have to give people the answers they need because they've got jobs to do. So maybe that's my answer, I guess.
There's no wrong answer. It's your opinion. I love that one. That's a
There it is.
it's showing respect for the other crafts. And I think earlier in the chat you mentioned the respect for the agency and the client that have lived with this much longer than
Yeah.
we are brought on. I recently was on a production and I chose the third floor
Mm.
thinking that it was a very simple shoot. And as it blossomed, we were on set, and I had said to the grips, "I apologize for the third floor choice. I have a book where I say stay on the first floor.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
was the right choice for the job, for the for what ended up on screen. It was the right choice, so I can't
Yeah.
apologize for that. But I would have planned it a little differently had I known the equipment that had to be lugged up. And it
Yeah.
affected everyone's time too, right? You know, bottlenecked
Right.
into an elevator and but
That's where
um
things get tricky is you want to do the right thing for the creative, but you also, I don't know, I feel like I think too much about the people in production and what they're gonna have to do. So I have to like catch myself sometimes to be like, but I still have to pick the right thing. Like I did a Walmart shoot where we had to rig up these window frames because we wanted it to look like we were shooting from this like patio overlooking a backyard, and it was pouring rain, and I just remember looking up at the G&E guys like, this was the right call to still do it, but that's hard. And so you got to give them their flowers, and like they're doing difficult stuff, and yeah, you got to respect it.
I think I think that's enough though. The crews that I've worked with love working hard and they
Yeah.
love serving the director's vision and kind of divorce themselves from how arduous the task may be. In fact, I'll go as far to say it may be a badge of honor sometimes for them to actually lug that window frame up 2 stories and rope it off to a tree and fight the wind. Like because
Yeah.
then there's pride in knowing that they pull it off, and they know that we know that you and I probably don't. Like I don't know how to tie those knots that
Oh,
they all tie.
zero. I would make the most unsafe sets ever if I had to rig anything. People would get hurt. Yeah, it's difficult stuff, but yeah, I've talked to them because I've done the same thing where I apologize after a shot and fully I've had, Best Boy Grip say to me like, "No, no, no, I want to get this right. Does this look like what you want? I don't care that
Yeah,
I have to be in the rain and rig this thing." Which is amazing. So, yeah, you're right. Like I think they take a lot of pride in what they're doing. So,
I
yeah.
can't even fold up a C stand correctly.
No, I can't either. I could. It would take me 20 minutes and things would go wrong. I would get hurt, someone would get injured. There would be a lot of pinched skin. It wouldn't be good.
Where should people go when they click on your name, Jon Schwartz,
Yes.
JonSchwartz? When they click on Jon Schwartz in the show notes or the blog or the Apple or the Spotify, where should that link take them?
They should go to itsjohnschwartz.com, I think. If they want to. If you want to take a look at the rest of my work, see what
No,
I'm
I
doing,
implore the listener.
maybe tell me if my about page is funny or not so I can adjust it. That's hopefully what you should do.
If you want to laugh, go to the About page at truegent.tv, my production company, and
That's
get a
the other
laugh.
one. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for being on the show. Let your side of the interview upload. Little
Okay.
peek behind the curtain for the listener. The Riverside records locally on John's computer and
I
my
see.
computer and the cloud, tripletaneously.
It's fancy. I wonder if they have AI tech. They probably do. They probably
Oh,
got AI tech in there.
they can
They've got
pull
it.
out clips and whatnot, but we're going to do it
Oh,
ourselves.
lovely.
John, thank you. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you at Vito's, or we'll grab a spicy cappuccino.
Something. That sounds great.
Talk more filmmaking.
Sounds good.
Thanks again, man.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye bye.